Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new but really old and trusted coverage of Marvel. That's right. We know Marvel is here, and your two besties, your comic book liaisons, are here in Sasha Joseph, me, and Jason Reed. We're back to talk Marvel. Hello, welcome.
Sasha, listen, almost as long as a layoff as from Daredevil season 3 to Daredevil Born Again. We back, baby. The B team is here and ready to rule. We are back to talk about comic book movies, TV shows, whatever it is you want to talk about, comics, Marvel. We are back. I have missed you, Sasha. I missed
Oh,
talking comic book movies and TV with you, and thrilled to be back with you here.
listen, and we don't know, y'all, what this is gonna turn into. So this is where you, the listener, really have to kind of go on the ride with us and be in the comments. Because guess what? If you're listening to us on the We Know Comics feed or the We Know Scripted TV feed, we're also on YouTube. And you want to see our pretty faces. So come on over, get in the comments on YouTube, and tell us if you would like more than Daredevil coverage. What maybe would be a Marvel monthly? Ooh,
Ooh.
Marvel monthly look like for you? I don't know. Y'all tell us what are you missing in your Marvel comic book coverage, Marvel and life coverage? Okay, maybe we can help you out.
Yeah, because there's always something comic booky around the bend. There's always something to talk about in the comic book
Yes.
world. If you guys want to hear from us about what all that stuff is and how we feel about it, how the world at large feels about it, let the power that be know. Let them know. Let them know with your views, with your thumbs up, with your likes, with your reviews. There are so many ways you can let the powers that be over here on We Know TV, We Know Scripted TV, let them know what you're feeling about it.
Yeah, but help us out, all right? If you want us, you gotta let them know. That's what we do know. And maybe this is your first time listening to us and you're V confused. So I'll just give a quick little, who we are.
Mhm.
Jason and I have covered a good amount. Now I want to say
Yeah.
of a Marvel specifically, but comic book adaptations on the big screen, little screen together. Listen, we've been through She-Hulk. But actually, that was great. So I didn't even mean it like that, but you know what I mean. We have been through, been through.
Been through it.
Secret
We have
Invasion.
been in the dog days of Marvel TV. Okay. we have we have been here on at a couple of the highs.
Yes,
We've been here on a lot of the lows too. Okay, like
correct.
in the dog days of Marvel TV, we were there talking about it with you guys over on post show recaps back in the
Mhm.
day. When I say back in the day, I mean like a year or so ago. Um, you're hearing us from She Hulk, Echo. We covered. Did you even remember we covered Echo, Sasha?
I
Because
did.
I did
Wait,
not
you're
until I thought
lying.
about it. I did not. I was thinking about it today. I was like, wait a minute. Did we cover Echo? I was like, yeah.
Because I have it in my notes to be like, oh, Kingpin, because we're gonna talk about Daredevil.
Mhm.
Is in I was in Echo. That was a fun. I didn't even.
Didn't even remember. I was
I
like, I'm
love that.
pretty sure we did. I looked it up. I was like, yes, we did cover Echo. It just lost in my memory.
And this is what you can expect with Jason and my coverage. Lots
Yeah.
of ridiculousness. But really, we are big comic book stands. We have been for a long time. I think Jason is our like comic book historian extraordinaire. I am very much like your Marvel fangirly. So like I like Marvel. And that's really it. And specifically Spider-Man and X-Men.
Well, listen, I have general comic book knowledge, but
Yeah.
like you, Marvel is my bag. Marvel
Yeah.
is my gig. I have, if I turned my camera around right now, you would see 20 long boxes full of Marvel comics spanning all eras. So that's really where my bag is. I do have general comic book knowledge, but if you want to drill down to Marvel, that's where my thing is. And also Spider-Man from my childhood has been my favorite hero. So and like many people. So I'm not anyone unique, but it's always been my favorite character. And I just love talking comic books, talking pop culture, and when all that stuff collides together, that's one of my favorite things to talk about and really be passionate about.
Yes. So we're just all in all to say we're just really excited about this and we're excited to like be back together because again it's so much fun and what you can expect here is like a lot of fun, a lot of like vibes, to
Mhm.
really dig deep. And we're Stan, so we're gonna talk about a little bit of backstory, what we're missing, what the comic books maybe had, right, and what we're used to, aka Daredevil's costume. I can't wait. to get your thoughts on. Yeah, this is a sore subject, friends. If you were there for She-Hulk, you knew. But
Abolish the mustard and ketchup suit, please. I don't want to see it in this new iteration. Leave it at
yeah,
that.
so this is a like we know comics or we know Marvel vibe. All right, y'all. So what we decided to do before Daredevil comes out, because hello, we're gonna be covering Daredevil. I don't know if we made that abundantly clear, but
Mhm.
we did, I think. So we're gonna be covering Daredevil, Born Again on Disney Plus. But before that, we decided, listen, maybe we'll do like a where are we now? Where's Marvel right now? Where is the MCU to be, to drill down? And we're going to obviously give you a little bit of background on Daredevil, on like a quick spark note of this is what you need to know before you get into Daredevil next week.
Yes, 100%. And listen, we've gone through a lot in the MCU.
Yes.
Last time you heard from Sasha and I specifically, we talked about season 1 of
Yeah.
Agatha All Along
Mhm.
with the great Franny Marin over on the reality TV. What was
No,
it
this
was
one, same thing.
the
Yeah.
same thing. So we
Same.
talked with Franny about that, and we had a great time with that. So that's the last time we heard from us. And since
Mhm.
then, there have been a few projects that came out that we really want to talk about. First and foremost, for me, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man came out, the animated series. Uh, I was wary, right? Because first of all, the animation when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. It's very like it feels like a Kirby panel drawn brought to life,
Mm.
which is not my favorite style of animation. But once we got into it, I really started to dig it. What were your first impressions of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man from jump?
Baby, I was hooked in the first 1 minute, all right?
Mhm.
Because and for very reasons that you just stated, everything felt different, right? Where, oh, I haven't seen this before. Because we just watched X-Men, huge hit for the MCU finally, right? The animated series. And, X-Men killed it. So to me, this felt like, oh, this is where like Disney Plus shows need to be at, because they obviously don't need to spend a lot of money on freaking VFX. Because, shout out She Hulk for
Yeah.
that one. But really, like, this to me was like, oh, this is Marvel's bag. This is Kevin Feige finally has figured out the formula. And I enjoyed it. Like, start to finish, I kept wanting more. I didn't want the episodes to end. And of course, there was a lot thrown at us, right? Like, oh, the Tombstone's here now, and Dr. Octopus is here, and Green Goblin, right? Like we know all these like new goblins coming. Okay, fine. But you just, I think, have to let it all go. And it's just really fun to watch if you don't think about, oh, this is what I did know. Like this
Yeah.
is a great something I would give to be like, oh, you want to get into Spider-Man. Here, watch this.
Yeah, and that was tough for me, right? Because I am a Spider-Man, especially purist. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
give
I'm a
me give
fan.
yeah, give me my Gwen Stacy, give me my Mary Jane. What? I don't see either of them here. Why aren't they
Mhm.
here? And just to see how they introduced Peter and introduced Spider-Man and how he got his powers, I was like, wow, this is very different. We're getting Doctor Strange off the jump. The amount of MCU like characters that they threw in here, like not just MCU, but Marvel characters they threw into the
Mhm.
pot in here was crazy to me. People that I never would have associated with Spider-Man, like Nico Minoru from the Runaways. I'm like,
Right?
she is Peter's best friend. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. I was like, that's from a totally different realm of comic book land brought into Peter Parker's world. That was crazy. I was like, really? How are they going to do that? How's that going to work? But it worked fantastically. And it really kind of was great to have this kind of season long mystery as well about what's going on with Nico and this little medallion, this little pendant. We still don't get the answer
Yep.
by the end of the season. It might not even be the same as what the answer is in the comic books because there is so much here that is different from the comic book lore, but in a great way. And I also love that it was like just a little bit off center of the MCU timeline we're used to. Like there was talk of the Sokovia Accords, there was talk of the incident in New York with the Chitauri, but it's
Mhm.
all just a little bit different than how it happened in the main timeline that we're used to. So all of that was really fascinating to me. Now I come into this thinking I'm sick of seeing Peter Parker recently being really helped out by tech giants like Tony Stark. So when we were introduced to a Norman Osborn led Spider-Man, I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I really love Peter and Spider-Man because he's a scrappy underdog hero. In the original, comic books, he was not given all this help, all these gadgets. I was like, I really love to see what a Spider-Man Peter Parker is like without all this help. But I got used to it, and also with the way that Norman was like kind of the Tony Stark in this instance, but a
Mhm.
more sinister Tony Stark. And the way that Norman Osborn perverted the "with great power comes great responsibility" line and turned it "with great power comes great respect." I was like, "Ooh,
I gobsmacked,
devious." Yeah.
I need that shirt, like, "With great power comes great respect."
Yeah. I was like, that is so devious. And
Yes.
seeing even though this hallmark of Peter Parker's life, this catchphrase that has guided him through life, how even though that has changed, the person that Peter is still didn't change. He knew after a while that was wrong. That's not what we should be doing. I shouldn't be demanding respect with my powers. I should be held to a greater standard because of my powers. For him to realize that on his own without the Uncle Ben guidance
Mhm.
was a great just a great like perspective on who Peter Parker is at his core. I thought that was a great, great, great moment for this character.
Yeah, it's again, I truly had nothing bad to say because I feel like I'm the Spider-Man stan that's like any Spider-Man you give me is gonna be good. I
Mhm.
actually don't care
Mhm.
because again, we have been starved, right, of Spider-Man for so long. Not anymore, but I just mean how when the MCU started, I was like, but Spider-Man. Like,
Mhm.
oh my God,
Yeah.
Sony, give it back in that way. So we hadn't seen Spider-Man in a while and and I believe Spider-Man is one where you can just do so much fun stuff that you just have to kind of let go of like, oh, this is what the comic books were, or this because they're able to kind of just put us in a blender when it comes to Spider-Man. And take me wherever you need to go because truly so much fun. I loved Harry Osborn as
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah.
Like the way they're able to spin him in and, Doctor Strange, like, what's happening?
And this like mechanic they use to explain Peter's
Mhm.
powers, what they call the bootstrap paradox, where basically this event has basically caused itself, really blew my mind in how they told the
Love it.
story of
Yes.
how basically Peter became Spider-Man from his own blood and a spider infused by Norman Osborn when he took blood out of Peter after he got like attacked by Scorpion and put it in the spider, and the spider fell through a time loop that Doctor Strange caused and bit Peter in the past. I was like, oh my god, blew my mind. I was gobsmacked. So I loved that part of it. It's the show is so smart, right?
Mhm.
It's very much also a vibes show. Like the vibe you get when you listen when you watch the show is like, this is actually really cool. This is really kind of
Correct.
like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It was just really great.
Yeah, and I just felt like it's just a nice way to be like, if this is where we're gonna go, right? A lot of folks were calling it the "what if" Spider-Man,
Yeah.
which I thought was really funny, but again, I you just gotta let it go and enjoy it. In addition, I feel like the way they've changed a lot of the characters, right? Like what folks were saying, wokeified it or whatever you want to call it. I enjoyed personally the diversity because it felt very normal
I mean,
in how they were able to bring it in.
and a Coleman Domingo, Norman Osborn, that just like the way that only Coleman Domingo
Yes.
can just drips like villainy, drips smoothness, drips sophistication, and the way he voices this character is the pitch perfect tone for someone like Norman Osborn, who I think most people when they think Norman Osborn, they think like Willem Dafoe from the first Spider-Man
Mhm.
movies, but to really kind of swerve it like that and make it this different character, this kind of like really smooth, really kind of like, yeah, he seems like a good guy, but probably not. It is really lovely to me, and the way they changed it, the way they changed it without changing it, right? They changed
Yes,
Norman
yes,
Osborn, but
I love
he's
that.
still who he is at his core. No matter what the race is, Norman Osborn is Norman Osborn.
Yeah, and that's what I enjoy. It's just like a little bit, right? Like of all of the things that they've just kind of added. And we have someone from Wakanda come in, right?
Mhm.
All it's so good and so easy
Yeah.
to do this. I truly appreciated it. And a lot of folks, were mad that they were, oh, they're changing this or change shut up. don't care.
Mhm.
I literally don't care.
I mean, at the end of the day, Peter Parker was still Peter Parker that you're used to.
Yep.
This scrappy underdog that's gonna fight no matter what. I mean, that's a trait that's in so many of our heroes. We'll talk about Sam Wilson's Captain America, who also is kind of like that. A scrappy underdog who fights no matter what, who is up against, unsurmountable odds that still continues to fight. And the way that Peter still finds that responsibility, even though he doesn't have Uncle Ben to guide him in
Mhm.
that way, just shows you how true to the character this version of Peter is. He still feels that responsibility. He still feels that sense of duty to help people, given that he has these powers. So I just love that they kept true to that, even though so much around him has changed. Thinking about the cameos in this show is outrageous, right? Because you have people like Pearl Pangnan, who like I had to look her up. I was like, wait a minute, I
Yes.
know this is a character. I was like, this is Wave from one of the Agents of Atlas incarnations. And I was like, that is so obscure. Like, I would even think to do that. That's so weird. You have Finesse, who I remember Finesse. She was from Avengers Academy, the comic book series, which no one would have ever thought. Where is Finesse right now in comics? I don't know. But the fact that she was like
Vibin. That's
this
what
Daredevil sidekick, they just threw in this random obscure character, just makes this property so different than anything else. Because you could have had so many. That's the beauty of animation, right? You don't have to hire actors. You don't have to do costume design in live
Mhm.
action. You can draw this character. You can draw any character you want. You just need someone to voice them, and just to be able to throw all those characters in there, and like I said earlier, Nico Minoru being Peter's best friend is like, who thought of this? And at first, to me, it was just like, this is so wild and crazy. This doesn't make any sense, but it felt pitch perfect because it's not about who the person is and the powers. It's still about that because Nico Minoru could have been Gwen Stacy and it would have been the same thing.
Exactly, exactly.
So just to have these obscure comic book characters come in was so interesting to me, and it gave me such a different feel to what we've had before. And
Mhm.
fellow
Wait,
90s comics kids that were reading Spider-Man back in the day, like the fact that they brought in the slingers costumes, I
I said
was
I was Leo, right? Like that meme of Leo pointing at the
yeah,
TV.
like that's Prodigy.
Yeah.
You brought the Prodigy costume, you brought the
'Cause I was
Hornet
like, "Wait, I've
costume.
seen it before. From where?" And, like, just like you, I'm, like, Googling, like, "Wait, what costume is this?" Because I know
Yeah.
I've seen it. So all of it was, like it's like, when something is so good it scratches the inside of your brain? Like, that's what
Mhm.
this did for me,
Yeah, you just felt
where
a sense of
it fit.
yeah, and you just felt a sense of joy and kind of
Yes.
like lightheartedness in watching the show. So I really, really enjoyed it way more than I thought it would. Because when I first
Yeah.
saw it, and I was first like, because originally I feel like when this was first pitched out there, it was supposed to be. I thought I had heard this was supposed to be basically Tom Holland Spider Man and what his origin was like. Because
I
when we were
remember yes,
yeah,
you're
because
right.
we
I
were
remember
introduced to
hearing
Tom
about this.
Holland, yeah,
Mhm.
he was already kind of doing his homemade Spider-Man thing. And I thought originally this was going to be, well, what happened before that moment? Like, what was Spider-Man doing beforehand when he was just on his own, doing his own thing? But it really kind of morphed into what it is now. And I'm kind of glad because it's its own thing. It's its own universe, its own place. It doesn't have to be beholden to any other comic book properties. It doesn't have to be like crossover anything else. It can be its own thing. And I think it really kind of like is all the better for it because you can throw in these random, the Daredevil Spider-Man interaction was so great, so fantastic. I love that. There's Amadeus Cho is in here, like
Mhm.
just all these random comic book names is so fun to have mixed in here with Spider-Man. I'm really, really, really curious to see what they do for season 2 because from what I've seen and heard, Gwen Stacy is supposed to be in season 2 as Spider Gwen from what you
Allegedly.
may know as the
Yes.
Across the Spider Verse movies. Allegedly, she's going to be in season 2, so that's going to be interesting. I just felt like the vibe in this was so great.
Yeah, and the last piece I also wanna say is, like, just how they were introducing Doctor Connors
Hmm.
I said, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
Oh, that's where we're going." And listen, the lizard is still gonna be cool regardless,
yeah,
and the fact that, right, again, they were able to just diversify this, like, basic character that you've seen in movie and like, you've connected with in a lot of ways, but can't wait for that to become evil. I
yeah.
can't wait.
It's something different and non traditional, which I think is
Mhm.
really great.
And that's the whole show, I feel, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The way they've really kind of twisted and turned certain things. I just thought it was so great. Like they're even replaying scenes from the MCU and putting a different spin on it. Like
Yes.
when Peter's entering the apartment after he picks up the DVD player outside the trash, which is the exact introduction that we got from him in Civil War. But instead of coming into Aunt May talking to Tony Stark, she's talking to Norman Osborn. It was
Yep.
like a shot for shot recreation of that, but it was just such a different moment. I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. That's so fun. So I just think it's a fun time. This show, I feel like Marvel needs to get way more in their
Correct.
animation bag because honestly, most of their animation stuff has hit really well. You've got What If, you've got
X-Men.
X-Men, this show. I think they've really hit with all that. You can and the possibilities are limitless with animation. You don't have to worry about a Chris Evans quitting on you or Robert Downey Jr. deciding he's had enough of this. There are 7 or 8,000 people that can sound exactly like Robert Downey Jr. that you can have just fill in for that role. All you have
Or
to do is
imagine
draw
new,
'em.
right, like Coleman Domingo, like we said.
Yeah, new
Amazing.
reimaginations of things. Yeah.
Yes. It just it feels like they're willing to be way more risky. Again, we understand why with their animation, and it pays off because I think it feels like they're finally having fun and taking the pressure off
Yes.
of like, oh, we need to give X, Y, and Z, or the product has to, be funny. She-Hulk felt like the stepping stone to this, where
Mm,
She-Hulk was like having fun and being silly, right? And not necessarily this like really serious ass comic that we needed to watch. And that's because she's not that way in the comics either.
right.
So I think that translates well. There were other issues with She-Hulk, but I think this is where I hope that they're able to take their shows where they're fun. The people behind the scenes need to be having fun, or you're gonna get a secret invasion again.
Oh, huh,
Yeah, I
shudder.
said it.
I shuddered when you said that.
Yep.
But yes, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I would give it probably like a 8 out of 10 in my
Yeah, I'm
ranking.
giving it a 9. Because
Yeah.
again, I think it's so someone like put their hand in a hat of characters and just pulled it out and be like, "Great, now we gotta connect this to this."
Yeah,
I
that
love
really
that.
feels like that. Yeah, it really does.
I
To
love it.
to just pull such obscure names out. They had and we didn't even touch on the Lonnie storyline,
Oh my
which
god, that I know, and that was
it
my favorite.
yeah, and it gives you so much emotional investment in Lonnie and
Yes.
in Tombstone. Tombstone, a character who is as cartoony as can be in any other iteration you've ever seen him in, but to have his origin like this and to really kind of lead us through his whole journey to end up where he ends up at the end was so emotional. Like we talked about how much fun and joy it is. The Lonnie story was such emotionally driven, and to get to the end of where we got with him was so fantastic. And I'm really invested in Tombstone like I've never been before in any
That's
other
what I was
property.
saying, 'cause I said, I mean, I know Tombstone, but, like,
Mhm.
whatever, do I really care? And now I said Tombstone can do no wrong. I don't
Yeah,
think he's really a baddie. He'll
yeah.
change.
Tombstone is right, and
Spoiler alert,
to
but
see him be this kind of antagonist that you root
anti-hero.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. And I'm sure what will be a season 2, and
Yes.
to actually root for the bad guy kind of is gonna be fun and interesting to see how we feel about that when that time does come.
Yeah, so we're ready for season 2 of
Yeah,
Marvel, in case you're listening, obviously you are.
for sure.
Perfect, and we also, Jason, had Captain America.
Yeah, very, very recent. Captain
Yes.
America came out on Valentine's Day this year,
Mhm.
which was
And I
interesting.
did go and see it on Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. My wife is not as cool as you, because that was not part of
First
my
of all,
Valentine's Day plans, let me
she's
tell you.
cooler, so don't even.
Yeah, if she's listening,
Yes.
she definitely is. She's not listening to this, by the way, you don't have to worry about that. But yeah,
We don't
so
pin women against each other. I'm just kidding.
yeah, Captain America.
Mhm.
Give me your thoughts. Captain America: Brave New World. First
You
outing
know,
of
this
Sam
yeah.
Wilson Captain America in movie form.
So here's the tea, okay? Remember Secret Invasion?
Uh-huh.
So I said, I can't enjoy this movie. I don't know how anyone else is, because then everyone's a Skrull in my mind, number 1, okay?
Well, Sasha, I think the good news is, according to this
I know,
movie,
I know.
Secret Invasion never happened.
Yes,
It just never happened.
I know. But that's where my brain is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
No, but it was a really fun movie. My husband, just like your wife, is not a, comic book anything. It was very much like, "Oh, you wanna go, so we'll watch this." And even he was like, "I enjoyed it," and then he said, "But it could have been 30 minutes shorter." And I was like, "Yeah,
Huh.
I'm with you. I think that there could have been some version cut out because the Red Hulk felt like a whole another movie that they just added on.
Yeah. So I honestly I said this could have been 30 minutes longer to
Oh, for the same reason, probably. Yeah,
explain more, give us more
correct.
context to things because it all felt very muddled. And I think what was very highly publicized was that this movie went through a lot of reshoots and went through a lot of
Yeah, we can
creative
tell.
overhaul. So you can kind of tell in the final edit that things were just kind of choppy, things were chopped up. And for me, coming out of Cap Brave New World, it was just like
Mhm.
it's just very fine. It's just
Yeah,
very like,
yeah,
that was fine. It
agreed.
was a movie. I don't regret s going to see it. I
Mhm.
don't want my time back like I want my time back from Secret Invasion or Eternals. I don't want my time back.
Well,
I don't
see?
wanna talk to Miss Minutes and be like, "Miss Minutes, give me my time back." I
Right.
don't want that. I'm happy I saw it. It's just there's nothing really in there that's going to really, really stick with me. A week from now, I'm not gonna be thinking about
No. Well,
Brave New
except you
World.
know what? I did think of you because Eternals apparently did happen in this timeline, and I said, "Jason, are you
And
watching?"
it was so here's the thing, right? Like, so Cat Brave New World weirdly
Yes.
has to deal with the fallout
Fallout.
of Incredible Hulk, of the Eternals, everything but Captain America. It felt such like fitting a square peg in a round hole.
Oh,
It just
million%.
did not. It just not feel right. Like it felt like a Hulk movie that you swapped Hulk out for Captain America and was just like, that works, right? And I was like, not really. Like it was fine, but it felt very much it felt very muddled. We had 3 villains in here, none of which I felt got any actual time to really be fleshed out.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like I said, I went with someone that has no idea about this stuff, and he was like, "So who's Red Hulk? What's going on?" And I
Yeah.
said, He go, "You can watch the Thunderbolts." And
Well,
he said,
yeah.
"Another movie?"
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if this was very dependent on you watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that
The
series.
T is they did say that, right? Like, they say you got to watch it. Don't just show up here, like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You don't need any background.
Right.
You can just vibe and you're good. This is not that. Yeah,
Well,
she's not that girl.
and like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a great example of you don't need to have seen things,
Yeah.
but if you have seen things, you're gonna get such a greater appreciation.
Mhm.
This felt like, nah, if you didn't see Falcon and Winter Soldier, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be
Yeah,
wondering
because my
who.
husband's like, "Wait, how is he Captain America?" And I said, "Please be serious.
You're gonna be
Please."
wondering who is Isaiah Bradley? Why is it a
Yes.
big deal? If you had watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, you would know that this is a huge deal. You would know the atrocities that were done to Isaiah Bradley and why he is so untrusting of the government. Here, it's just like I don't trust the government because they did things to me. Like, okay, what are you talking about? What things did they do to you? When they mentions he's the lost Captain America, like he's the what? He's the lost cat. He's the lost Captain America. What do they mean? They don't really
Yeah,
explain
they
it to
gave
me very well.
nothing to
Yeah,
him, and I was like, "Wasn't that the whole part of the series is that they gave him nothing, so now we're giving him everything?"
yeah. I just feel like there should have been like a caption on the bottom of the screen for more information. Please watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series.
Like, pause it right now and,
Yeah,
scan this QR code.
yeah, for sure. Because if you didn't watch that series, you were probably lost, and you lost a lot of nuance to
Yes,
what
I
was
think
going on.
nuance is the big piece of it because I was, again, explaining, like, like, who random characters were, but, again, I'm not gonna, like, freaking pull out everything, and bless his heart, like, he didn't care, he still enjoyed the movie,
Mhm.
and, I'd love to know from, yeah, like, our comments, like, if you didn't watch, did you still enjoy it? But to me, it was just, like, a nice 6 out of 10 because
Yeah.
it meant well, and the
Mhm.
Red Hulk was there, that's cool, and the leader is cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's leader's always gonna be cool, but meh. What and to me, I wanna give it an extra point for closing the Eternals loop because I think that's so funny.
And that was so weird because yes, it mentioned the Eternals celestial, but it didn't really spend a lot of time with it. It's like, hey, yeah, like y'all been complaining that we haven't addressed this. Hey, here we addressed it. It's in the ocean, and we're getting adamantium from it. It's just like,
And we're fighting other countries and killing, like, what?
yeah,
It's like, spoiler alert for Paradise, but, like, it's just like a bad, no, you know what? I'm not even gonna spoil, but it's just like a bad version of Paradise, and if you watch episode 7, you know what I'm talking about. I'll just leave it at that.
I haven't watched this. So I'm glad you're not spoiling it.
Yep, that's how they know I'm not gonna, like, I didn't mean it as a spoiler, but I just mean, like, that's what it reminded me of, but I was like, Paradise did it better.
Yeah, and then to introduce adamantium into our world and not
Like, folks
do
fighting over adamantium, and I said, "Where is that from?" And but I do think adamantium might come into
well, I mean,
Daredevil.
listen, adamantium is a big deal because
Yes.
that is what Logan's skeleton is coated with. Wolverine is what his
Mhm.
skeleton's coated with. Adamantium. When you think adamantium, you think Wolverine. That's like
And Dex people are saying, right, like, they might just change to adamantium as well, in
maybe.
Daredevil, but we'll talk about that, yeah.
And then for them to not even really use that anywhere else to be like, hey, it's adamantium, and not be like at the end credit scene to be like for the X-Men guy, General Stryker, not to be like, hey, I could use this adamantium for this project I have going on called Weapon
Just say
X.
that. Just say
Like,
that.
you could have really connected things. I don't know why Kevin Feige is so hesitant to really kind of bring much X-Men into our
Well,
world. Like we
he something must be, or some X-Man must have made him mad or pissed
yeah,
in his Cheerios, 'cause I think I like X-Men maybe more than Spider-Man, maybe, and I just can't. Like, they won't let me live.
they won't fully unleash the X-Men onto the world. We've been getting
Yeah.
drips and drabs of the X-Men. We finally
Well,
we saw
X-Men, yeah.
Beast in the Marvels, we saw Charles Xavier, but I'm gonna need y'all to do something else with it because to introduce adamantium and not follow up on that was so crazy to me because that is such a big deal in comic book land. It's crazy. And then yes, they references the celestial, but it was just like, it's there. We're not gonna really do much else with it to kind of just introduce them, be like throw it to the wayside, just make it kind of a pretty little prop
Mhm.
to not really do anything with it was interesting to me. I was like, why did you even include it in this movie? You
And people might forget, right? Again, folks that aren't in that adamantium isn't, if adamantium isn't ringing bells for you, you're gonna forget it.
yeah, for
And
sure.
then you're gonna be like, "Didn't I just watch, like, a bunch of movies for Black Panther talking about why all of that is way more important? What are we doing?"
Yeah, so they didn't really do much with that. They could have done so much more. Um, and also with the characterization of Sam Wilson, right? Sam Wilson,
Mhm.
Captain America. We had a
Oh, that was
whole
extra point.
yeah, we had a whole TV series about Sam coming to terms with the fact that he's not Steve, the fact that he wondering if he's good enough. I didn't want more of that in this movie. Let Steve, let I was upset at Steve, let Sam be Sam. Let him know that he's good enough. I don't want every time I see Sam Wilson on screen to be like, am I good enough? I don't know. I'm not Steve. I'm not Steve. Let the man stand on his own. And then the fact that they really gave him no additional characterization, right? I don't feel like I knew more about Sam than I did when I came into the movie, which I don't think is good. You need to give your character some context. I don't feel like this movie gave Sam any extra layers, any extra context. We didn't get anything about his home life. We didn't get him a damn love interest. Like we didn't give him nothing.
No,
Like
in fact, he says, "I shoulda when he's fighting Red Hulk, I shoulda taken the serum." So then take the serum. At this point, I don't care.
well, I don't even after the events of Falcon Winter Soldier, I don't even know if that's an option to him anymore. He had the
Okay,
option
you're right,
to
but
take it
still.
at that point, but that was a fun moment. But other than that, it's just like I know nothing more about Sam as a person, as a character than when I walked in here. He is a affable, fun guy. I like the fact that Sam started his journey in the MCU as like a counselor, and you can see where he still has those instincts. You can see
Mhm.
him like he literally talked down the Red Hulk into de-hulkifying. And just to see different points in the movie, him talking to people and him giving people hope is a tenet of Sam Wilson, and I love they kept that part of it. But I just don't feel like they did the character Sam Wilson
Yeah.
much more service than that. It felt like he was just another character in the movie. It didn't feel like he was the central figure in this.
1,000,000%. And again, I think there's a lot of new stuff introduced to us, right? Like Bucky is gonna run, he's doing all of the like he's gonna be in politics. It's just a lot of stuff being set up.
Yeah, and that was that was wild to me. It came out of nowhere to me.
That's
Like,
what that part feels like a different movie.
yeah, and I love the moment where
Yeah.
Sam's in the room, we hear someone come in. Like, that was one of the only surprises that weren't spoiled
Mhm.
in this. Like, we knew Red Hawk was gonna be there, we knew the leader was gonna be there, blah, blah,
Barbara was
blah.
gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to have Bucky come in, like, you probably could have come into this thinking, like, there's a high likelihood that Bucky will show up at some point because him and Sam are bros, like, they had a whole TV show together.
Mhm.
But for it to happen, and then for the conversation they had about Steve again, I was like, all right, another conversation about, are you as good as Steve? This or that. I feel like we've had this conversation 1,000 times at this point. But then to find out that he's running for senator or governor, whichever one, I was just like, huh? Like, since when? Like, what?
Mhm.
This kind of threw that out there, lobbed that. So I was like, what the hell? And then we do find out in like the newest Thunderbolts trailer that Bucky will be elected
Correct.
to office, which again is wild to me because like this man was a sleeper agent that killed many people. It's like, I mean, but listen,
Anything goes, vibes only, baby.
we've had wilder stuff in politics more recently. Okay, so we won't get in the real world, so we won't get too much into that. But anyway, but to throw that, just kind of throw it out there, and it's like, huh? Wait, that was wild to me. So that's one thing. And then I don't know if you share this opinion with me or not. I think this might be a wild opinion. I haven't seen that out there
Mhm.
much. Harrison Ford, as Thunderbolt Ross, did not love it.
I I don't wanna sound ageist, that's what I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if it's, like, a age thing or if he, like, isn't really, because I think he's having fun. But I don't know that he's, like, fully immersed into it, right? Like, this
Mhm.
isn't an Indiana Jones type character where you kinda have to be like, you're like Red Hulk. I wish we got a little bit more, like, superhero from him and little le and maybe that's on me, right? Like, I can't separate him from his other roles, but, I just feel like he's approaching it with a little bit more seriousness. Instead
Yeah,
of like, I'm a literal Red Hulk. I need to be a little bit more crazy.
yeah, especially given the characterization that the characters had before. Because I mean,
Yes.
for those that don't know, Thunderbolt Ross was portrayed by William Hurt in the other movies that we had before this. William Hurt unfortunately passed away, so it needed to be recast. And they found Harrison Ford, which is a big get. Like Harrison Ford is
1,000,000%.
big business. It's like, oh my god, Harrison Ford is here. And then for him to kind of take it in this direction, which is way different than what we've been used to. I'm just like, uh, the William Hurt version of Thunderbolt Ross was this big, bolsterous, kind of asshole guy, and Harrison Ford was really quiet to me in this role, in this turn as Thunderbolt Ross. He said things quietly. He never like really yelled, this and that. He was so into getting his relationship back with Betty, who we'll also get into the Betty of it all,
Betty,
which is
like,
like,
"Wake up, Betty, please."
which is weird. I just felt like it wasn't for me. It was too understated for me as Thunderbolt Ross, and I'll use that to also transition to what I thought about Red Hulk.
Mhm.
Red Hulk in the comic book version, he Red Hulk still has all of his personality. He's got his intelligence still as Red Hulk, and he's a big asshole because Thunderbolt Ross is an asshole. I feel
Yes.
like when Ross turns into Red Hulk, it just turns into another mindless Hulk episode. It was a good action scene. Other than that, I don't see the purpose of having Red Hulk here. I really, really don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that's why I was doing the, like, 30 minutes less piece where it felt like Red Hulk was, like, in this fight, right, of, "I wanna be good," or, "I wanna," "maybe okay, maybe now I'm fully giving in to myself, blah, blah, blah," but we don't really understand where Red Hulk lies, and maybe that's not the point of the story, and that's fine, but what's the point here? Right?
Yeah.
Like, where are we going with this? Okay, so he's had this in him this whole time, but are we supposed to sympathize with this character? And that's where you're right. Like Harrison Ford took it there, where maybe we're supposed to sympathize with this man.
I
But
mean, sympathize with the guy that held a political prisoner for over 16 years. Uh okay, cool. Like I don't know if I feel bad for Ross at all in this. It was weird to me that it was weird that how they introduced Red Hulk, right? Because yeah,
Mhm.
this political prisoner that I just convinced to help me with my heart condition, sure, I'll take the pills he's giving me. Why not? This is why not, because you held him prisoner and he turned you into a Hulk because of it. Um, but knowing where the comic book origins came from, where in the comic books, Thunderbolt Ross wanted to become Red Hulk. He asked to become Red Hulk in order to fight what he hated, which was Hulk. He said, to fight Hulk, I gotta be a Hulk. So I'm gonna turn myself into a Hulk. And he used that attitude and that temperament against all the heroes. Because when Red Hulk came on the scene in comic books, he was a big thing. It was a big splash. You didn't know who Red Hulk was at first. It was a big mystery. Who is Red Hulk? And then you finally found out
Correct.
that it was Thunderbolt Ross, and he was an asshole the whole time. He was beating MFers up. He was kicking ass, taking names. It was so great. It was so interesting. I just felt like it would have been a way more interesting use of the character if they had done part of that here, where he's talking to Sam, he's bantering with Sam, he's insulting Sam while he's kicking his ass. It just felt like this was just another. It could have been the Green Hulk the
Mhm.
first Avengers movie, and it would have been the same
It would
thing.
actually work better because that's the Bruce that we're used to, right? And, like, instead of maybe
Yeah,
Thunderbolt Ross. Like,
yeah,
it's just
and to have all these Hulk shenanigans go on and
yeah.
with no banner at all was weird to me. I feel like you should have at least had Smart Hulk show up for a consultation and be like, "Hey, I hear you got a
Like
Red
they
Hulk problem.
did
This is
for
what you should do."
She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
get Hulk and his weird son back here, like
Mhm.
because that's still never been touched on. Hulk and his son, but I feel like there was so many missed opportunities they could have taken
Yeah.
here, and they didn't
I
run
mean,
with it.
same for, what like, Danny Ramirez kills it. I wanna make that
Yeah,
clear. But Joaquin Torres, I felt like I was like, "Oh, but he's so fun. Let's give us more of him." Like, he wants to do more. He sees Sam Wilson as Captain America, right? Like, we could have almost used that to be our, intro into, like, Sam, like you said, being his own person. To use, like, this kid to really show us, "Oh, Sam Wilson is him. Got it." And we're
yeah,
good
and
on
I did really enjoy their dynamic of kind of like this big brother little brother
that.
dynamic,
Mhm.
of like Sam showing him the ropes and like kind of taking this kid under his wing, pun unintended.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think you're right. It could have used a lot more of their relationship in the movie to kind of show that Sam is that same mentor figure, that same leader that Steve was to him. And listen, also, for me, the leader was kind of boring. Like,
We know his badassery, but not necessarily in the movie.
yeah, it was fine. It was just like it didn't really give me much of a pop.
Yeah.
He didn't really play it in sort of any main villain role. He was just really kind of like, oh, you're gonna like, I'm gonna do this, gonna do that. It just didn't pop off the screen for me for the leader, because the leader in comic books is just this big, large than life character, and for this was really understated, and I felt like it was a little too understated. Um,
Mhm.
let's also take that into one of the worst end credit scenes in the history of Marvel, for
Okay,
me,
'cause
in
I
my
said I
opinion.
coulda looked that up on YouTube.
Well, and we already know there's a multiverse. We already know this. This is no new information. And how does he really know this? Because he looked at probabilities and blah blah blah. I'm like,
I said, "Didn't Doctor Strange already shut up."
yeah, there was so much more you could have done with this.
Like,
Yeah,
aren't they all in a group chat? Like, the Avenger like, please, Doctor Strange is letting them know what the hell is going on.
yeah, for sure. We also get mentioned in this that Ross wants Sam to restart the Avengers.
Mhm. That
I
was good.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting for us to like give a roster of current MCU personalities that we want to see on the Avengers. Give me your lineup. Give me a lineup of 5 people, not including
Ah!
Sam. 5 not like it's Sam we know is going to be there.
Yeah,
Who's your starting 5
yeah. Okay.
Avengers in the from the current MCU roster that we know of
I
right
know,
now?
I'm like, "Okay, first of all, who the F is current?" Um, okay, okay. I think I would obviously want Captain Marvel
Mhm.
and Miss Marvel, but no, maybe that's Young Avengers, so no, I take it
Yeah, yeah,
back. I think
yeah.
Miss Marvel will go there. So, okay, Captain Marvel. What do you think about Monica Rambeau?
I think
I think she's too minor, but, in
she's
my
minor, but I think this would be a good experience for her to get
Mhm.
major. I think instead of Captain Marvel, you might do Monica Rambeau.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't hate it.
because they're a little similar. They're a little similar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I personally I think I've said it on every podcast at this point. Baby, I miss Shang-Chi.
Mhm.
So,
Very much so. I
that's
agree with that.
that's the 3rd, technically, I'll say, and I think I'll do 4 and, Black Panther. This is gonna be the wokest.
So
Whoever y
Shuri Black Panther.
Yeah,
Okay.
whichever.
Yeah,
Like a Black Panther. I'll just leave it
there you
at
go.
yeah, because I think that could be really fun. So those are my I think they're like I'm bringing back the minors or the people that we're almost forgotten, but that's what I feel needs to be the
Interesting.
Avengers.
Interesting. So for me, I think
Mhm.
I would go. I'm limiting myself to 5 here.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Thor because I feel like you got to have an OG.
Is
That's
Thor
number
gonna
one.
come back? Oh my god. Yeah,
I think Chris Hemsworth is cashing those
yeah,
checks anytime they ask
he's
him. So
coming.
yeah,
If anyone is coming, he's coming.
give me Thor. Give me She Hulk.
Oh.
Because listen, in comics, there's an interesting dynamic between She-Hulk and Thor when they're on the
Yes.
Avengers team.
Yes.
They be knocking boots when they're on the Avengers team together. So like that would be interesting and fun. And plus, I think She-Hulk, for as much as people trash that show, I think she was a good character. So
Mhm.
give me She-Hulk as long as they can get the graphics right. um, give me Thor, give me She-Hulk, give me Shang-Chi. I feel like we have been cheated for years from Shang-Chi. Give me
Don't piss
Shang-Chi
me
back.
off. Because
Give me Shang-Chi back.
seriously, what are they doing?
I will also take Monica Rambeau. I think that's a
Yeah.
good call. Who is my fifth?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I did 4. I was like, "I'm happy."
Who is my fifth? Who
Do
is my
is
fifth?
Daredevil coming?
Ooh, that'll be interesting. Love triangle with Daredevil, Thor, and
Yes, that's
She-Hulk.
what I miss. I love.
Interesting. No,
Or is the go
give
ahead.
me Rhodey. Give me Rhodey War Machine because you need a Iron Man type.
Yes.
And
Okay,
I
fair.
feel like Riri is going to be on Young Avengers. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Give me Rhodey War Machine on Avengers. I think that's my lineup.
I like that. Neither of us said Spider-Man, because that is assumption.
I really, in general, feel like Spider-Man is a much better solo hero
Oh,
than he
yes.
is on the
I
Avengers.
think they be punking him a little too much on the Avengers.
Yeah, I feel like I prefer my Spider-Man solo rather
I
than
like
an
that.
Avengers type of thing.
Any X-Men that you wish.
Well, I mean, it depends on what they do
Right, and no,
with the
this is
X-Men.
Dreamcast, and
Yeah, so I
obviously
mean,
tell us in the comments who your 5 are.
Wolverine in comics has always been interesting when he's been part
Mhm,
of this group dynamic because that's not outside the X-Men, he doesn't really play well with others. So I think
correct,
that's always been interesting.
when
And
he's
I
not in a love triangle, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like if you had like a Cyclops on the team, he
You
would
know
be
that's
trying
my favorite, right?
he'd be trying to take the leader role from Sam, saying like, "Hey,
Correct.
I'm the leader. You fall back, my guy. If I need some eye blast, I'll call you. But other than that, you stay in your role." Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, and Storm, I feel
Or
like is
Storm, that's exactly what
yeah,
I like a Jean Grey, Storm,
heavy
like
hitter. Yeah,
yeah, like a big one where you're like, "Oh, we can't lose."
yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
we're not getting Scarlet Witch back. So
No,
that's why I feel like we're missing the, like, magical element. The Doctor Strange just does not do it for me, so don't even try, guys.
yeah.
So
And
that's why I
listen,
feel like that, a Storm Jean Grey would be great. Oh
y'all
my
out
god.
there, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us in the comments what your
Yes.
Avengers lineup will you want to be for this new upcoming Avengers lineup that Sam's going to try and start. I hope that they use this opportunity because I mean, listen, we've been pleading, we've been begging for a new Avengers lineup, and I really hope they do that sooner rather than later. It gets mentioned in the Thunderbolts trailer,
Yes.
um, but I really hope this happens sooner rather than later, and that
Do you think
Sam
Echo
can be
is
that leader.
anything? But again, is that a young Avenger? Damn, we have lots of good young
Oh,
Avengers.
Echo?
No, maybe not.
No, Echo's not a young Avenger, but
Right? Okay. Not for
I
somebody your age.
I did not love Echo. I
Yeah, you didn't,
really
that's true.
didn't.
I enjoyed it, but listen, home field advantage. It's too much Oklahoma in there for me not to.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not sure if they really or I don't even know if
Well, I just
I
need
don't
for
even know if
the
they
yeah,
remember they did Echo.
fair. I mean, we definitely forgot. Oops.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
and listen, Loki is another one where I was like,
Mm,
I just need him in like, to do a guest spot. I
yeah,
don't
I think
know
that would
what
be
that
good.
means.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's why I don't count him as, like, an Avenger, but, like, I need him to, like, be messy and come back. and do
Yes.
something there.
Let's do a little let's do a little talk on some of the trailers we
Yeah.
got for upcoming projects. Let's talk Thunderbolts.
This
What's your
is gonna be ridiculous.
What's your like? I I feel like it's gonna be like I look at this and I watch this and I just can't help but think like, is this just kind of like a rip off of Suicide Squad? Like, is that what this is gonna be? Like, I'm a little worried. I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest with you. I'm just like, it feels like they're taking a little too much from the Suicide Squad brand and vibe in this
Yeah,
thing I'm seeing.
I think they should look at The Boys
Yeah,
and be like, "Oh, how do we do that,
interesting.
but funny
Yes, interesting.
for
So you
good?"
think more of like a even less ragtag or even more ragtag team of
Yeah.
people like fighting the good fight? That would be
Yeah, like,
interesting.
imagine The Boys, but good. Like, good as an anti-hero, right? Like, where they're
Oh, I was
all
like, wait,
ridiculous.
are you trying to shade the boys? I love the boys.
No,
No,
no, no,
okay.
I meant, like, the
Yes.
protagonist,
Understood. Understood.
antagonist. So,
Um,
that I would love to see a version of that where they're all just as, like, ridiculous, or just go full comedy. That's fine too. But
well, I
I
feel
don't
like
want that in between.
yeah, I really feel like you're right. There's like an action comedy where it's just like, are the masses going to be happy with that? Because I feel like
Yeah, I don't know.
Marvel has this expectation of like all the movies have to be as good as Endgame, blah blah blah. Are they ready for just a pure like, ha ha, funny comedy action? I don't know. It like I said, it does feel a little too
A
Suicide Squad
comic
for me.
book, and I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
it's really funny because the Beef creator, right, like, Lee Sung-jin, replaced the original script writing team,
Interesting.
Eric Pearson, yeah, and, because, Eric Pearson was writing the script on the like, and basing it off of anti-heroes, but then the Beef creator comes in. So now I'm really confused as to where this is gonna go.
Yeah, and I mean the lineup is when I first saw the lineup, I was like, really? Taskmaster, Ghost, like these just really nothing characters. Like, what are
Yelena make I'm like, "What?" I was like, "She can kick all the ass."
yeah, I like what are you gonna do with this? This
And
is
Bucky, what the hell?
and Bucky's apparently gonna be like a sitting senator or
Yeah,
governor out there kicking ass. That's gonna be interesting. Because in the trailer, it's mentioned that, hey, they asked Sam to make the Avengers, but he hasn't done it yet. And
yep,
I'm gonna make me a team, and it's gonna be these weird losers. So, and again, we have the kind of situation where none of these people are super powered. They're all just kind of, I mean, the Red Guardian has like a version of the
right.
super soldier serum, but other than that, there's not much superpowers going on here. So it's like, and they're fighting against the Sentry. The Sentry, for those that don't know from comic books, is almost kind of like Superman in this world. He is super strong. He can fly. He's super
Mhm.
powered. He's got a yellow costume, which I'm sure if you watch the trailer you saw, which is really interesting and weird.
And
I did
he's
not.
the one that was doing the Sentry is a shadow.
Yeah, he has another. He has
Yeah,
like he
okay.
has like a split personality
So, yes.
where they call what they call the void. Right? Is the void
Yeah, that's what
is
it
the
was.
bad
Yeah.
part of him. So and
Mhm.
there's a lot of people in the trailer seems to be sucked in by shadows or something. That was what it looks like in the trailer, which I'm guessing
Yep.
is the void part of Sentry coming out. So I'm just really curious about how I think that's part of the conceit of the trailers and everything. Like, how is this bunch of people that aren't superpowered going to fight against the Sentry? So I'm really curious about that. I hope it's not another let's talk him down because as great as
Oh, no,
Sam
don't
is, for Sam to have been like, I'll just talk the Red Hulk down was very like, oh, okay, great. Like anticlimactic for me. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering, is there something we're not being shown that's going to happen? Are we
I
going to
mean, I
get
beg.
like is Red Hulk going to come in here? And try
He
and fight
has to,
Sentry?
he has to, he has to, he has to. Don't even be serious.
Are we going to get some other heavy hitters to actually come and fight the Sentry? I'm just wondering if that's
Do
it.
you think the Young Avengers show up?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. I would doubt it because what are the Young Avengers? I'm trying to think of what the Young Avengers.
Like, I wonder if the Thunderbolts fail, kinda.
Interesting. Yeah, and then someone and some other like Thor has to
Yeah,
come in and try to take down Sentry or something.
some version.
Interesting. Yeah,
Like,
I
that
don't
would be
know.
to be aged, that would be so funny. But
Yeah,
again,
I'm
they have
just
to lean into the funny.
Yes, and this really feels like they're leaning into the fun comedy aspect of it. I just
Yeah,
hope it's not too I hope it's not too reminiscent of Suicide Squad where people walk out of the theater going like, "Well, that was basically just a rip off of Suicide Squad." I hope that they can do something different with this to make it stand out from Suicide
yeah.
Squad.
And I'm
Um,
not, like, fully excited to watch it, but I'm definitely, like I just hope it's funny. It doesn't do the, like, we're taking ourselves too serious.
Yeah, I hope it strikes that good middle ground.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see it. Like I'm definitely like
Yeah.
any Marvel movie. I'm excited to see any Marvel movie. Because listen, we had such a long layoff from Wolverine and Deadpool
Mhm.
to Captain America. I was just excited to go see a Cap movie. And again, I'll say
Yeah.
again, like I don't regret the time I spent watching. It's just it didn't strike me as the other Captain America movies have struck me. It just felt like okay, that happened. Like that was a
Mhm.
movie. I might not remember it a week from
Yeah,
now, but I had fun watching it. I won't say it was a great movie, but I had fun
and
watching
that's
it,
okay.
and that's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
Not everything can be Endgame. Not everything can be Civil
Listen,
War.
the problem is that Marvel has been chasing that phase 1,
Yes,
Avengers high,
totally. That
and we
is
just
a big
we
problem.
gotta let it go.
Gotta let it go. Something's gonna be good, something's gonna be bad.
Yep.
I saw some video the other day where like it was the typical Marvel fan. It went through the
Mhm.
timeline after Endgame. It was like Marvel's back, baby. Oh, Marvel's terrible. Marvel's back, baby. Marvel's terrible. Like just the up and down of all the properties that have come out that have been good or bad, and how that has affected Marvel fanboys, how they feel about the MCU as a whole. I think that the truth is we had a really great track record for a while. Like
Yes.
things were going great for a while. There was almost no misses there. But then we got into some misses, which is par for the course, which is gonna happen. But you gotta appreciate the good times and ride out the bad times when you can. So yes. Yeah, Thunderbolts, can't wait to see it. Interested to see how they're going to make it stand out.
Yes.
Um, let's talk about the one I think that most people are very, very excited about,
Mhm.
which is Fantastic Four.
Oh my gosh.
Um, I gotta say, like, I'm not a big fan of period 60s, blah blah blah. Not a huge fan of
Me
that.
too. Me too.
So when I saw it, I was like, okay. When I first heard the premise of like this is gonna be set in an alternate universe 60s, I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm digging that. I don't know if I love that. It's not gonna be set in our timeline. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. And then watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this seems really kind of light and fun.
Mhm.
What did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I okay. So I feel like I'm one of the few people that really enjoyed the shitty Fantastic Four movies.
I'll raise my hand. Like,
Okay.
listen, I'm not talking about Fant for Stick, where the hell
Mhm.
that was, because that was terrible. That was probably one of the worst comic movies I've ever seen. But if we're talking about the two Fantastic Four movies,
Yes.
the first Fantastic with with Chris
With
Evans,
the
Jessica Alba,
John baby, that is Johnny Storm.
I
Come
loved
on.
I loved those movies
Yeah,
because
so I'm struggling
yeah,
because I really enjoyed them,
yes.
and I'm not vibing with this cast as much, and that's on me, like, I wanna make that clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel you. And listen, I love me some Pedro Pascal, and I think that's an interesting casting choice. Vanessa Kirby, I'm not as familiar with, but I feel like she'll be okay Sue Storm. The Johnny
Yes.
actor, I don't think I've ever seen him
Yeah,
in anything.
Joseph
So
Quinn.
yeah, but
Mhm.
here and the thing I think I'm gonna get the most hate for in this
Yeah.
arena here is the thing and the thing's graphics. It throws me so much
Oh,
off.
Joseph Quinn is in Stranger Things. Oops.
I don't even watch Stranger Things, so
Yeah,
I
same.
feel like
I quit, y'all. They be taking too long.
yeah. The animation style for the thing kind
Mhm.
of throws me off because
Oh, interesting. Okay, to me, this feels a little bit more realistic than, right, the original movies,
mhm,
but again, I just I can't shake the nostalgia out of those 2 movies, and I don't know why.
mhm. Well, and from a standpoint of Fantastic Four, the original
Mhm.
ones, where it really felt corny in the best way, right?
Yeah,
When you look back
exactly.
at those, and then this Fantastic Four feels like it's gonna take itself very seriously,
And
like,
and I've been
dead
saying it.
serious.
I'm stressed out. I don't want Marvel to do this.
Yeah, but for me, like I said, the thing graphics, the thing design kind
Mhm.
of throws me off. It feels like it's in a totally different movie. and that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah, it's
it
the head. I'm looking at it right
yeah,
now.
well, have you ever seen, like, the Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Mhm.
It feels like it's that animation style, and it
Yeah,
just
I see what you're
feels like
saying.
it doesn't
It's
belong.
the eyebrows.
Yeah, yes, I think that's part of it. I think the overall design for the thing is good. It's just the graphic part
Yes, fair.
interacting with that live action is really kinda throwing me off here.
Well, and we know Marvel and freaking VFX, so
Yes, I'm excited to see what they do with Galactus. It looks like Galactus is not going to be
Mhm.
some amorphous cloud like in that other terrible Fantastic movie. That's good. We'll see this. We'll see
Ugh.
uh
Remember
gender
the
flipped.
Silver Surfer?
Yeah, gender flipped Silver Surfer. So that's gonna be
Please,
interesting.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what this is bringing
Yeah.
us. And I think the assumption is that something's gonna go wrong,
Mhm.
that world is going to crumble that they are in, and they are going to find their way into our sacred timeline, to borrow a
Ooh.
Loki phrase. They're going to find their way into the sacred timeline and come into our universe and interact with our characters to get us ready for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War or whatever. Do we predictions? Are we going to see Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom in that movie, either as part of the
That's
movie as a
crazy.
whole or as a post-credit scene?
Ugh. I mean, we're going to. It has to be in a post-credit scene.
I think he has to make an appearance. He has to, because Doctor Doom is so reminiscent with Fantastic Four. He's
Right,
got
of
to make some
course.
sort of appearance. So yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, and
Uh,
this is coming out July 2025, so I feel like
mhm,
we'll have enough time to still be like, "Oh my gosh, where will this go?" And then the
yeah,
new phase, because phase 6 starts allegedly with Avengers Doomsday.
right. And luckily, there's enough that's unknown to us to make this feel
Mhm.
like we still have no idea what's going to happen. I hope they don't. I hope they don't do what they did with Cap and just reveal everything in trailers, where there's really kind of really no surprise left. When I was leaving the theater, I felt like I feel like I saw that movie in the
Yeah.
trailers. I saw the whole thing. I saw almost every interesting part in the trailers.
Why
So
would they,
really,
like, show the Red Hulk? Am I like, I feel like they shouldn't have shown that.
yeah, they should have, like, there was this thing in the first trailers where he just saw his foot. I feel like that would have been good enough. You don't need to show the whole
Mhm.
thing. Leave something to the imagination. But I feel like in Thunderbolts also, we still don't have a lot of info. And
No.
That comes out May 2nd, I think, something like
Yes.
that.
No, Thunderbolts, yes, is May 2nd.
Yeah, so that's like not that long away. Got about less than 3 months for that. So I hope they don't reveal too much about that, because I want to go in surprised. I want to have some surprises in the theater when I'm
Mhm.
watching, which is what I really felt was lacking in Captain America.
Yeah. I'm with you. I just again, let's be silly, let's be fun. That's what I'm ready for with the Fantastic Four. Again, we're in the 60s. So let's see.
Yeah.
And I just will never forget in Deadpool, right? Honestly, the funniest part of Deadpool, one of the funniest is when Chris Evans goes flame on.
Oh my god, so
Like
freaking hilarious.
I screamed.
And that was one of the only things that was not spoiled for me in that
Correct.
movie,
Same.
and it was so funny. I
That
was
and Channing
dying.
Tatum
Oh,
as
dying,
Gambit.
dying. I love that so much, because
Oh
only
god.
because that it meant so much to him. I was dying about that.
Correct.
So good. But yes, those were some of the things that are coming up in the very near future
Yeah, we're gonna
for
have
Marvel.
Ironheart as well, coming out in June, and that's going to be a series. So we're ready.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for.
and that's gonna be interesting because again, it's kind of these two flavors that don't shouldn't really go together,
Yes.
because Ironheart's gonna be going up against the Hood,
Mhm.
which is like a supernatural villain. So that's gonna be interesting. Where I feel like there are ways you can make two flavors go that don't belong together go together, unlike what I feel like Cap did. I feel
Yes.
like you can make this work with the Ironheart and the Hood, and that make that interesting. So we
Well, and
have
I think
that.
this is where Shuri could come in and
Mm.
Vibranium, right? Like all that could be really interesting.
Yeah, and then we've also got Wonder Man coming out.
Yes.
There was a short trailer for that. Trevor Slattery is going to be in that. AK, I forgot what the man's name was. Ben Kingsley. From
Oh, yes, from
yeah,
Freaking Secret Invasion. Hello.
yeah. Well,
And Barbie.
he's going to be no, not Ben Adair.
Oh my god.
Was it Ben Kingsley from he was in
Oh, from
from Iron Man 3, from Shang-Chi. He's gonna be
Please
in
don't
that.
dislike this video. I really
Yeah. He's gonna be in it, so I think that's gonna be fun and interesting. From what I saw in that teaser, it was like, okay, cool. That feels like a weird kitschy vibe. We're also gonna get some animated projects, Marvel Zombies. We're gonna have Eyes of Wakanda, which is very interesting.
that
I'm
I am
very interested in that.
so excited for.
Yeah. It's an anthology. It's gonna like focus on a bunch of different protectors of Wakanda throughout Wakanda's history. And there was a female Black Panther protecting her nation's vibranium during the age of piracy. So that's gonna be fun. I feel like it's gonna be similar to like kind of like a what if type of thing, like a
Mhm.
bunch of different stories you never even thought of to hear before. So I think that's gonna be fun.
And
So
we
I
know they do animation. They do it well.
Yeah, so I think the future is looking pretty good for Marvel. I'm very, very
Yeah.
hopeful about what the future of Marvel is gonna bring. I really feel like they're trying to bring it back around to a unified cohesion of stories. So I really hope we get to that point
Yep. We're ready, all right?
for
And
sure.
with that, that is your just state of Marvel that we had allotted 30 minutes and here we are.
Yikes.
I love us. We're yappers. And when I just miscast everyone. You know what I just did? I don't know if you watch Abbott Elementary, but that's
Of
just what
course.
happened.
Oh
I
yeah,
did a
you were
Barbara.
barbering that. You did a
Yeah.
Barbara. Yeah.
So, I was doing a bit, guys, obviously.
No, it's so intentional.
Yeah. So with that, I think let's get into Daredevil Born Again, which is listening coming next week, y'all. Get
Yes.
ready. And I'm really excited for this. I know Jason's excited for this because
Very excited.
this is like I feel like you're Shang-Chi, where you just constantly brought it up over
Yeah.
and over again.
Listen, the original Daredevil run, those 3 seasons
Yes.
were still some of the best superhero TV to ever have been done. So for it to come back now, listen, y'all, the last season was in 2018. It's almost 7 years in between. That's crazy to me that is being brought back and almost the all the original cast are coming back. Now,
Mhm.
let's not forget the scuttlebutt before this, when this was first being introduced, first being thought of, it was originally slated to be one 18 episode season.
This is messy and I love it.
Yeah, it was going to be one 18 episode season,
Yes.
which is a lot of episodes. Like, okay, cool.
And we were
Um,
gonna be there.
and this was at a time in Marvel where, some of you may remember this time in Marvel. Marvel was in upheaval, right?
Yes.
They were coming out with things that people didn't like. This was around Secret Invasion time. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, Marvel's in trouble. The Marvel ship is sinking. What are we gonna do?" There were a bunch of think pieces coming out about all the problems with Marvel, Marvel this, Marvel that, all the toxicness in Marvel. So Marvel was in a bad, bad way, right? And so this gets announced, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Daredevil!" And then we find out some of the facts about this upcoming Daredevil, this original incarnation of what they wanted this new Daredevil season to be. And in a time where Marvel was like, you know what the wrong thing we should do? Let's do that. That was kind of what they were thinking. Because this was going to be kind of like everybody was wondering, is this going to be connected to the original Netflix series?
Yes, that's the
Because
biggest question.
that was the question. Because it's got the same
Mhm.
people, like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are going to be back as Daredevil and Kingpin. So this is going to be part of the like original
And we've
3
seen these
seasons.
2 appear, right, in multiple different,
Yeah.
properties. So
Yeah.
we know them.
It's like, so it's going to be connected, right? Right, Marvel, right? And Marvel's like, not so
You
fast.
thought.
I know y'all want that, but we're not in the business to give you what you want anymore. That's not what we do here. So the conceit was like, this is not going to be connected to that original series. You're not going to get the people you love. You're not going to get the Foggy. You're not going to get the Karen. We haven't even asked those people back. We don't know who they are. They're strangers to us. What are you talking about? Foggy who? Karen what? And they had like a different origin for Matt. They were reshooting scenes of Matt's origin where things were changing. So it was
It
going
was
to be a
supposed to
lot
be
of
self-contained
it was going to be a
was
lot of
the point, yeah.
possible either retconning of the original thing or this is going to be a different universe or whatever. And everybody was like, "Hell no! What are y'all doing? Y'all are crazy."
And
So
not
much,
only that, the craziest thing also sorry, one more
yeah.
thing
Go ahead.
is, and because I know this is a big sticking point for you, is they weren't it's 18 episodes, to be fair, in this first iteration, but it was Daredevil. is not, or Matt Murdock is not gonna be in costume until episode 4?
What? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That's so
What
that would
are
have
we
been so
watching
crazy.
for?
So
Legal
crazy.
drama? Imma turn on ABC,
Right, exactly.
CBS.
Imma watch some Better Call Saul from back in the day, I'm gonna do that,
I'm gonna
but
watch High Potential.
wild. Just a wild thing for them to be thinking of and them be doing. But again, this is in a time where Marvel is like, we're gonna do all the wrong stuff because that's what we like to do. We are messy. We are toxic.
Vibes only, baby.
Yeah.
Wrong vibes,
So
obviously.
in this moment, right? They have shot 6 episodes of this iteration they were thinking of doing. Then the writer's strike of 2023 happened.
Mhm.
That halted production. They were 6 episodes in when production halted. Heroes of the land, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio came together and they were like, "You don't like this, right?" And they were like, "Yeah, this sucks. This is terrible. What the hell is this all about?
Can you imagine?
Like, this is not what we signed up for, right? Like, this sucks, right? You on the same vibe? We on the same vibe." So they went to the higher ups together and were like, "Yo, this sucks. Like, let's get back to what we were doing before. Let's get back to the Netflix show that everyone loved." And that's pretty much what happened. They talked to the powers that be. The powers that be agreed. We're like, yeah, we're looking at the dailies. We're looking at the episodes you got shot. This ain't good. Let's scrap this and get back everyone we had. So they brought back Foggy. They brought back Karen. They brought back a bunch of writers that have already done Marvel
Mhm.
properties. I think they've done work on Loki. They've done work
Yeah, and
on
Moon Knight
Moon
and
Knight. Yeah,
yeah.
bring them in. Bring in original crew and cast from the original Daredevil Netflix show. So I think for me, that creative overhaul is what really gets me excited because they said we have strayed far away from what was good about Daredevil. We knew we had it. We had the good stuff in Daredevil. We strayed away from it. And for them to actually come out and say, we're going back to that, to the good Daredevil, I'm like, yes, sign me up, baby. I am ready for it.
Because this is your like, Daredevil is, for as long as I've known you, you have been excited for it to
Yeah,
come back.
for sure. Because there's always been scuttlebutt about bringing Daredevil back.
Mhm.
Ever since they scrapped that whole universe, I
Correct.
loved that universe. I loved Jessica
And oh my
Jones.
god, not even, yeah, like, all of it, right? Like, Luke Cage was so
Well,
big.
almost all of it. We're
I'm
not
just
gonna talk
saying, but
about the first season of Iron Fist. We're not talking about that. But
okay, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like everyone was watching,
yeah. And then they
and
just got rid of it because of different
yeah,
contractual things, because of different,
mhm,
Disney was not happy with Netflix having their babies, so they were just like, no, we're not gonna do this anymore. And for it to come back in this way is so great because there's so much opportunity, right? Because we know who's coming back. We know the big characters coming back. We know some other characters come back. There's a possibility that there's talk of, is Luke Cage gonna come back into this universe?
mhm.
Is Jessica Jones
Well,
coming back?
he is, this is a trailer spoiler, quickly, people can go forward, but, there is in the Times Square scene,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of stuff, and, his name is in there.
Yeah, well, the name of his, because at the end of Luke
Yeah,
Cage season 2,
yeah,
he's
the
taken
owner,
over the
mhm,
nightclub,
yes,
and
exactly.
the night was it Harlem's Paradise? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
Harlem something, I can't remember the
Yeah,
full,
and the name of the nightclub is in a billboard in the
yes,
Times Square scene. So there's scuttlebutt of like, okay, well, Luke Cage still might exist in this universe. So I'm happy to see if anything's going to happen from that. But there's so much possibility that can be happened here because there's so much history in that universe. Anything from that universe can be brought back. Electra can be brought back. We don't know if Electra's coming back, but
Jessica Jones, baby,
Jessica Jones,
please, please.
yes, for sure. So I'm really happy that they course corrected and was like, all right, we got to go back to what worked before, because those 3 seasons of Daredevil were really great TV. For season 1, if people remember that when that first came
Mhm.
out, there was a hallway scene, a hallway fight, which is still heralded as one
Iconic.
of the
Yes.
best fight scenes, one of the best one-shot fight scenes that has ever taken place. It was such a big moment when it happened that everyone was talking about it for weeks, months after that. So yeah, and those same stunt coordinators are coming back for this one. So you're gonna get some of that same vibe, some of the same zhuzh. So I'm very excited for that to be happening. And that first season that kind of introduced us to Matt Murdock, introduced us to the Kingpin, and how that slow roll toward a collision with Daredevil and Kingpin was so great to watch and great to see, and to see Matt and Foggy get with Karen, who was such a big character in the Daredevil
Mhm.
mythos, was really a really great introduction to this world. Right, season 1, great season. Season 2, I think people were kind of like, let's what are we doing? What are we doing? That really kind
Yep.
of brought a lot of the mysticism in of for Daredevil. That's when you got this is when you were introduced to all the Electro stuff, the hand stuff, all the Electro's we've got to find some little boy who's going to be
Yeah.
this magical being or whatever. That would really kind of threw some people off. Was I think season 2 is probably the lower rated season,
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
and that rolled into Defenders, which brought all of the people of that universe together. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Daredevil all brought together to fight against the Hand and against this mystical being that was going to be some like world ender or whatever. Elektra was resurrected, returned to a bad person. It was a mess. That show, it had its strong points,
Yeah.
but for the most part, was a big mess. People did not like it. By the end of that season, a building had fallen in on Elektra and Daredevil. We weren't sure what was going on. Season 3 of Daredevil pops up. Matt's still alive. He's convalescing. He's being taken care of his mother, who is a nun, who all of a sudden pops back into his life. Weird. And that really brings us back into the main conflict of Daredevil and Kingpin. You had Poindexter, Agent Poindexter, who was AKA Bullseye, who was a psychotic killer, who was awesome. He was a great
Nutcase.
villain.
We love Nutcase is
Nutcase,
good.
real nutcase. He was, Fisk was plotting against Matt Murdock because he found out that Matt Murdock was Daredevil. He put Poindexter in a Daredevil costume to throw shade on Daredevil's name. That was such a crazy season with a crazy, crazy ending.
Like, they were doing anything.
Yeah, they were throwing everything on the wall, seeing what stuck.
Yes.
Now, by the end of season 3, we were left with because there had been a lot of turmoil with
Mhm.
Matt, Foggy, and Karen. Matt, they thought Matt was dead. He came back to life. By the end of the season 3, Matt, Foggy, and Karen are all back together again. They're going to start Murdoch, Nelson, and Page, or whatever the
The 3 of
thing
them,
is.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
legal procedural part of it.
yeah,
Yes.
they were starting their new firm. All seemed well. Kingpin was in custody. He was arrested for all this stuff. So was Vanessa. Poindexter was paralyzed seemingly, but it looks like we're going to be getting him back
Yeah,
in
we
this
are.
thing because at the very last shot we saw of Daredevil season 3, which led me to think they weren't really preparing that as the series finale, because the last moment of that is Poindexter and his spine being worked on, and they're putting in some experimental metal in his spine to see if he could walk again. So that's
So
interesting. He's
that's
going to
what
come back.
people think would be,
They're going to
um
put adamantium
yes,
in him instead of that.
yes.
Interesting.
Or
Um,
it could just be, Dex. Like, we don't know. It's
yeah,
just
for sure. So yeah, that was an interesting way to leave off, and that's where we kind of left our heroes. Now, after that, we have seen Matt Murdock and Kingpin in different parts of the universe, right? We've seen Kingpin in Echo. We've seen
which,
where else?
again, when I tell you that, I said, "But we've seen Kingpin before. Where have we seen it?" I just forgot Echo happened.
Yeah,
And
for
then I
sure.
said, "Duh, Echo."
Yeah, he was a big part of Echo. Like that was a
Yeah,
big reintroduction for Kingpin back into the
exactly.
universe, because we know from Hawkeye, last time
Mhm.
when we saw Kingpin in Hawkeye, last part we saw of him because he was responsible for Echo's dad being killed.
Yes.
We saw Echo put a bullet in Kingpin's eye at the last
Mhm.
part of Hawkeye, and then we come back in Echo, and he's like, "Oh no, I had a boo boo on my eye. I've got it all patched up
And
now." I was
I
like,
still
"Okay."
forgive you. You still my girl,
Yeah,
basically.
for sure. Like he was trying to lure her back into the life.
Mhm.
And by the end of Echo, which I think is gonna be really interesting for this
Yes.
new Daredevil, she with her powers, which were not really greatly explained. For those that watched Echo, you remember. Um, she used her powers to try and heal Kingpin, turn him from evil to good. Now we're not really quite sure if it worked or not. We're not sure what happened. I don't even know if it's going to be referenced
Impossible,
in
sorry.
Daredevil.
Well, we do know that, yeah, like, Kingpin, is going to be the mayor, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, And maybe that and half of the trailer is just Daredevil and Kingpin talking, or Matt Murdock.
Yep.
They're talking to Fisk the whole, and they're just going back and forth, back and forth. So it felt almost like, oh, are they setting up, almost like a truce? Or is this gonna be like, hey, now this is the last time we're gonna be civil to each other?
Yeah, and there seems to be, from what I can tell, there seems to be some incident that happened that
Yes.
uh, Matt Murdock hasn't been Daredevil for a minute. Something happened. He has refused to put on the horns again. Like I think even Fizz asked, like, why have you no longer been a vigilante? Like this man needs a cough drop bad. Get this man some Ricola real quick.
Deep voices are in right now.
Yeah, but I'm also very interested to see, like, because I'm sure they're gonna try and play this as like, oh, Fisk got healed by
Mhm.
Echo. He's a good guy now. He's gonna be the mayor of New York. He's gonna be a good guy. I'm just not sure if that's true the truth. I'm sure that's part of what we're gonna be wondering throughout the series. Like,
And
is
we cannot trust Kingpin.
no,
Wake up, everyone.
of course. So I'm really wondering if they're even gonna reference the Echo thing, if they even
Interesting.
because it feels very kind of like mystical for
Right, I see what you're saying.
this new series to undertake. So I'm wondering if that's even gonna be brought up.
And we know Disney is really good about just being like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, for
It's just
sure.
that didn't happen.
Just totally ignoring things.
They
Um,
snap like Thanos snap us all the time, actually.
for sure, for sure. Because listen, Secret Invasion was not referenced once in
In the
Captain
whole
America.
movie where half the people are what?
And well, and because it was weird because at the end of Secret Invasion, the president in that timeline outlawed aliens or whatever.
Exactly.
And now we just have a new president with no explanation at all of
Secret
what happened to the
Invasion is
old
not
president.
canon.
It's weird, odd. Anyway, back to Daredevil.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so that's where Fisk has been since Daredevil. For Matt Murdock, we've seen Matt Murdock in Spider-Man: No Way Home since Daredevil ended originally as
Mhm.
Peter Parker's lawyer, which was such a great cameo in that movie.
Obsessed. And again, that's where I think that's the first time where I felt excited that, "Oh, something's coming."
Well, and also acknowledgement that this
Mhm.
version of Daredevil is MCU canon because we were
Correct.
curious, like, do the Netflix shows count as MCU canon? We didn't know, and that seemed to be confirmation. Yes, the Netflix shows count as MCU canon.
And this was at one point, or it's still now, I think strongly is, right? Season 4.
I don't know for sure.
'Cause I was, like, reading all these articles, and it feels like you do have to know, right, like, all this
Yes,
background that we're talking about. So maybe it's not officially season 4, but I do think, like, we're picking up where season 3 ended. Maybe I should say it
yeah.
like that.
I think in spirit, this is season four
Yes.
for sure.
Yes, but
I don't
not
know if
actually, because the name is freaking Born Again,
And I
but
don't know if there are like contractual reasons why they can't say this is
fair,
Daredevil season
fair, fair.
4 or whatnot. But
But I
I
want
think
us
it
to, like, think about it in that way, yes.
yes, I think in
So that
spirit,
everything isn't left behind,
yeah, in spirit, this is season 4.
yes.
So we had Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock show up in
Mhm.
Spider-Man No Way Home to defend Peter, which was great, great cameo. Really made me want a Daredevil Spider-Man team up real bad. So I hope they do that in Spider-Man
Well, we
4.
saw it in in,
Yeah, in Friendly
uh,
Neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider,
So hopefully that
which
comes
I
up in this.
loved. I was like, "What is that?"
So good. And that was Charlie Cox voicing that Daredevil.
Yes, it was.
So hopefully
Honestly,
that is
that's
like
a
a
real one. Like,
yeah,
he really loves Daredevil.
he rides with Daredevil hardcore. So hope that's like a Spider-Man 4 thing. Maybe we'll see a Daredevil and Spider-Man
Yeah.
team up in live action. We also saw Daredevil in She-Hulk, where he
His
and
best
She-Hulk,
work yet.
he he and She-Hulk had a little rendezvous, little one night stand, which is
A little
interesting.
romp. But then
Yeah,
he, like a Fortnite character, right? Like, freaking, appears for the
yeah,
final, dinner scene where we meet, again, spoiler, but Hulk's
yeah.
son.
That was that by the end of that show got so like madcap and weird that it's
I'm
like
sorry, but it was truly so funny to
it
watch.
was. And
Like,
who knows if that whole She-Hulk thing is even really
was
a
that
part
a
of
fever
canon.
dream? Did it
That's what
happen?
it felt like. That's really what it felt like, complete with Daredevil Walk of Shame from She-Hulk's house. Um,
So
but
funny.
I do you think they'll reference that at all in this Born Again? Like, Will he
Depends, right?
mention?
Like, do we know we see him kissing, so is Karen coming back? She
Well,
is,
Karen's
but
back.
yeah, so I maybe there, but again, I feel like Daredevil is gonna be serious, She-Hulk isn't,
Mhm.
right? So then I don't know if it's worth for them to make that joke, basically.
Yeah, interesting. I think it would be fun to just reference it,
Oh,
be like,
duh.
"Hey, I met a green lawyer in San Francisco," or something like that. I don't know.
In
I
LA, right? Yeah.
I think you're
Mhm.
right. Daredevil's a little too buttoned up to really even mention that. So who knows? But yeah, and we do have like you mentioned he's kissing someone. This he's not even kissing Karen. This is a different love interest he's
Yeah,
got in this
exactly.
season. So who knows what that's going to be about? So
Mhm.
yeah, we have seen Daredevil and Kingpin in the MCU. I think they did a great job of still making those characters relevant.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
reminding us of them in the layoff from season 3 to Born Again. So they don't feel like we have to remind ourselves of who they are because we kind of know already. But it's going to be exciting to see Matt Murdock and Kingpin butting heads again together in the same scene. That scene they have in the trailer where they're in the diner, like I don't know, kind of threatening each other subtly
Mhm.
was really fun. So
That's
I'm
what I'm
really
saying, I'm so excited for that scene because that's
yeah,
gonna set up a lot for us about Kingpin.
yes. I think it's gonna be very fun. I cannot
Mhm.
wait for it. Let's talk about who's returning and some new characters.
Yes.
So we I think we kind of already went through all the returning cast,
Well,
Karen,
did we
Foggy.
talk fully about, the Punisher, Frank Castle?
Yeah, we didn't really
Yeah,
touch on that.
that's
Punisher
the
is
big
back.
one.
I
Mhm.
think one of the best parts of that Netflix universe was the Punisher.
Correct.
Punisher got his own spin-off seasons. He got 2 seasons of his own show. He showed up in Daredevil, and
And baby,
if
Disney loves the Punisher.
yeah, weirdly, right? Because and that was another thing about the Netflix universe of shows. It was the first time we've really seen like gruesome, like gory violence in a
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah.
property.
Mhm.
And well, I mean, not the first time, but the probably the biggest like example of
Where
like
they really,
consistency.
ran with it,
Yeah.
and
I
it
mean,
felt
listen,
adult in a way that the
yes,
others don't.
very. When you see Kingpin smashing this man's face in a car door, you seeing that on a Marvel show? And that is now on Disney Plus, by the way. Crazy.
Now they don't care. Now
No,
it's fine.
Disney Plus does not give a F anymore about what content it has on their platform at all. But yeah,
Absolutely not, and I thank you, because
yes,
yes, let's age this up a little bit.
for sure. So yeah, Punisher is back. Uh, last we left them, I think Punisher was helping Daredevil with the hand ninjas or
Yes.
something. He said, "See you later, Red. See you around, Red," or whatever he said when he departed. So that's gonna be interesting to see them back together
Yeah,
again.
and we know that, their relationship is interesting, which is why I think I wanted to spotlight them because Daredevil or Matt Murdock rather, right, helped him, and then helped Frank Castle, right, he defended him, and
Yeah.
then Frank Castle ends up in prison, but then escapes.
Escapes prison, one of the best action scenes that show had.
Exactly,
So
with
good.
obviously Kingpin as part of.
Yep.
So, it's just to me that it's all very interesting. And then he becomes the Punisher, and then he gets a like you said, standalone. So I just think, like, they could do a lot, and Punisher is coming back, like, fully
Yes.
in his
Yeah.
own thing. So we just need to, like, keep an eye on what's going on because it's gonna get violent.
Yeah, I think in those first series of seasons, that
Mhm.
Punisher Daredevil dynamic, it really felt true to the comic book.
Yes.
The dialogue, the acting, the relationship felt so true to that comic book page. It was so good. Much like everything in that show was done very well.
Yeah, and the Punisher is a vigilante.
Yeah,
And he, like, wants to clean up Hell's Kitchen. So he's like the funny enough, the devil to Daredevil. Like,
for sure.
Daredevil becomes the angel in my mind when we're comparing these 2 at least.
Yeah, and we already mentioned that Vanessa
Yes.
Kingpin's love is coming back.
Mhm.
Poindexter, aka Bullseye, will be back, so I'm very excited for that. Let's get into some new characters.
This is wild.
Muse is going to be one of the villains here. Now,
Mhm.
for those that have read the comic book, Muse is a very, very interesting villain. He's a kind of a newish villain for Daredevil. He's this like street artist who
He like
mur-
Banksy, right?
yeah, similar to a Banksy, but with dead bodies. He
Yes.
like he takes dead bodies and he makes them into these art installations, which is very, very interesting. I think it's crazy that he's going to be this new villain here because he's not a huge villain in the Daredevil mythos. Like I said, he's relatively new. So that's going to be fun. I think it's actually going to be a fun character to see in live
Yeah.
action and to see what he does with these crazy dead body art installation pieces. That's going to be fun.
And again, gory. It's gonna be crazy because he's a serial killer, y'all.
Yes,
He's a
for sure.
deranged artist serial killer.
Yeah. We're also going to see White Tiger. Now, White Tiger is being described to here as a villain. I think probably his origins in the comic books are as a villain, but he turns into a hero eventually and also passes his White Tiger amulet, which gives him his power. He at some point passes him down to, I think it's his niece, because the White Tiger I am typically
Mhm.
known about is actually a female White Tiger hero, but she got them passed down from her uncle, and I think this is the white tiger we're going to see in the show, the male version of the white tiger. So that's going to be fun. Uh,
Also, he's played, by Kamar, De Los Reyes, who maybe if you watch All American, you know that he's the
oh,
coach.
now see,
Um, and he's
I remember
passed
him.
away.
Yeah, he did. He unfortunately
Yes,
passed away. I remember him as Antonio on One Life to Live because listen,
yes, yes.
summers in Richmond, Virginia. My grandma used to make me watch soap operas with her. That's where I remember him from. But yes, he did unfortunately pass away, which is
Yeah.
really really sad.
So which is,
Um,
really interesting, and which is why I wonder how this white tiger muse is gonna work moment, because right, like, I whatever they shot with him, they shot with him,
yeah.
but this was supposed to be, right, like we said, in 18, 18, right? 18 episode 1 season, and now it's chopped into 2 different, like, 9 and 9, and the
Mhm.
2nd season hasn't been, um I believe has not been shot.
I would imagine it probably hasn't, if I was
Yeah,
to guess.
because
I don't
I
know
think what I was
officially.
reading was that it's gonna be shot in July. So sorry if that's the timings have changed, but
Yeah.
that's this Hollywood Reporter article that I was reading said that. So we know obviously he's not gonna maybe be in there. So maybe that's where you're right that he becomes good guy and then they exit him off the show. I have no
Yeah.
idea. It's just
Yeah, I think
wanted to bring that up.
there's already a built-in way to kind of
Yeah,
shepherd
exactly.
him off the show, which is to pass it down to his niece or whatever.
Yep.
That'd be interesting. A couple of really, really interesting castings here. Uh Yusuf, Miss Marvel's father,
Yusuf Khan is here, baby.
is here, which is like when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, is that's
That
not
ain't
that
who
guy.
I think it
That's
is.
not him. And then it was confirmed it was him. I was like, oh, okay.
And he's, like,
Interesting.
fully in the like, if you look up Daredevil Born Again cast,
Yeah.
he's there. It's not like a random cameo or you know what? Like, Muse isn't even, I don't think, in this list, um, which is why I find it very funny.
Yeah. I'm just really, really like curious about how they
Like, what is the reason?
what his part is in here. Like,
Here's
is
my
he
thing.
uh-huh.
Maybe he's Miss Marvel's, yeah, you're right, and maybe he's you like, and that's it. He's Yusuf Khan. But there is a someone on the Wikipedia that says Rahul Ray Nadeem, an honest and ambitious FBI agent. And we it's not him. It's JL played by someone named JL Lee, but that's also a South Asian.
Mhm.
So I'm like, is
Interesting.
that the connection?
Maybe. I'm just wondering if whatever Yusef does is somehow connected to Kingpin. I'm wondering if Yusef maybe is like
Oh,
gonna turn informant. Is Daredevil gonna use him to try and get at Kingpin? I don't know. It
that's
also
so random.
it is. It really begs the
'Cause
question
we
as
love
well.
him as just Marvel dad. Right,
Yeah, like
him as a person, absolutely not.
yeah, he has problems
But
as a individual real life person.
yes.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he's always been played for this kind of comedic
Yeah,
effect, especially in like the Marvels. Him and the whole family were like a big comedic part of that movie. So it really kind of begs the question: will we see Miss Marvel at some point in this show?
I please don't do that. I'm gonna say no. I don't even wanna go there.
Yeah, the vibes don't match, right? The vibes don't match.
And she's young. Like,
Very.
did you be on the show? Is that allowed?
I just feel like she would be out of place in this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
series, so maybe not. It's a very like why include him
No, the
otherwise?
informant piece does make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I'm
that to
I'm
me
willing to say that.
that to me might be a thing there. Also here, Jack Duquesne, who you might be like, who? Who are you talking about? Do you remember the show Hawkeye? In Hawkeye, this man, played by Tony Dalton, uh, aka I think it was Lalo Salamanca in
Mm,
Better Call Saul. Great character actor there. Um, he will be in this. And in Hawkeye, he was Kate Bishop's mom's
yep.
boyfriend. AKA he's also known as the swordsman in the comic book continuity. So that's interesting. There's so many like interesting characters they brought into the pot here to play in this Daredevil sandbox. So a lot of very curious things that are
Yeah.
going to be here and how they connect to the other pieces of the MCU pie is going to be very very interesting. Now, is there anyone that we haven't named that you want to see come back?
No. Sorry. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are the
Mhm.
big question marks.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that I would like to see back.
Yes.
So that and again, speaking of like fun hookup issues, right? Like I would love a Luke Cage, Jessica Jones drama with that. So those are the people that I think there's no way they don't come back. That's crazy. They can't do
I
that.
think I think if anything, they might save them for season 2, and
See,
maybe
oh,
maybe they'll have like a
fair.
cameo at the end of season 1. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also wondering if like an Elektra can show up at some point
She's
because
credited, I believe.
oh, so maybe she will show back up because we don't know what happened to her since the end of
Mhm.
Defenders. She kind of disappeared after that, so that'll be interesting. Also,
Oh, wait, I'm in Daredevil. I'm
uh,
not in Born Again.
got me
That's
excited. You got
me
me
when I
excited.
lie.
But I
Sorry.
think it could happen. I'd be excited for that to
Yes.
happen. Also, a character that does not get talked about anymore. Claire Temple, played by Rosario
Oh,
Dawson,
yes.
was the glue to that Netflix universe. She was what Phil Coulson was back in the
That's
day.
oh my god, that's exactly what I was thinking. She's the happy.
Yeah, she was the glue of that Netflix universe, and she just kind of
Mhm.
disappeared at one point. So I hope maybe at some point they can bring her back. I want to know what she's up to.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Also, random, but I'm excited, like, not excited, but nepo baby Michael Gandolfini is gonna be
Yeah,
here playing Daniel Blade.
yeah, an associate of Kingpins. I'm not sure
Yes,
if that has a connection to the comic books. I'm sure it probably does. I just did not look it up, but
same.
that'll be interesting to
I just
see
thought,
what that's about.
like, James Gandolfini's son is gonna be here. Very just an interesting name. And also I did look up, like, Yusuf Khan, and it's funny because Marvel Studio executive even said that it's a fun challenge. I have to say I was laughing a lot because I do think that that's the most MCU aspect of a cameo, like, that is what we brought, some of that comedic energy.
Mm,
So I guess he's gonna bring something like that, but the challenge is making sure that he's Daredevil and the
yeah,
tone complements that, but not Miss Marvel. So I guess he is going to be there as
yeah,
so I wonder if they bring in like being Pakistani and Muslim and then like in New York and stuff like that. Because
good
that could
question.
be really interesting.
Because I mean, he lives where Kamala lives in Jersey
Yes.
City, which is across the river from
Mhm.
where Hell's Kitchen is. So that'll be interesting to see how he comes into play in this
So I
world.
wonder, yeah, if they are they gonna touch like Islamophobia or something like that? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how he plays into this world.
Yeah,
'Cause that's
it
such an
seems
interesting pull. Like that's
wild.
so weird.
There's so many people that it could have been.
Yeah, it could have been any random person, but they chose to make it Kamala Khan's dad.
Yeah. So again, please bring her back, Shang-Chi, Kamala. Come on.
Bring them all into the
We
scene.
only get so many Asians.
Did you have anything else from Daredevil
No.
you wanted to bring up?
Thank you for sharing all your Daredevil knowledge.
I'm so excited to
Me
see this.
too.
I have not had time to rewatch the 3 seasons of Daredevil. I
Same.
really wanna try and get some more Daredevil under my
Yeah,
belt
I'm going
before
to,
March
actually,
4th.
I'm going to. Will we actually? That's the question, but definitely an option, y'all. And listen, tell us, what are you most excited for Daredevil?
Yes, leave it in the comments, leave it in the reviews, whatever you wanna do, we would love to hear from you.
And help us out, 5 stars, please. Don't, if you didn't like it, maybe pause and wait until you like something.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen, it's fine.
Or you
Leave
can leave constructive criticism in your 5
in the
stars.
5 stars,
I'll
yes.
allow
We'll
that.
take that for sure.
Please. But yes, you can listen to us on the We Know Scripted TV feed. You can listen to us, I believe, on the We Know Comics feed as well. And if I lie, I lie. Okay, y'all know the vibes of this podcast. And and with that, thank you everyone for listening. Listen, we said, oh, we're gonna keep it quick. Yappers.
We lied.
I love it. And truly, Jason, it's so much fun that we're back talking comics together. So we will be back for a weekly recaps of all the Daredevil episodes. It's a funny, random way they're releasing it. So just, make sure you're watching all the episodes. There will be 2 episodes out next week. So get ready for that. It's going to be really fun. And with that, Jason, where can all the people find you?
You can find me on social media. I don't really social media much these days, but if you want to find me, you can find me on Blue Sky at JR33D. I will be there. If I have anything interesting to say, I'll try to say it there, I guess. As far as podcasting goes, you can find me in a bunch of places right now. You can find me on my own podcast, The Good Pod I Do with Marissa Garza, talking about The Good Wife and Good Wife related properties, including Elsbeth, which is airing currently this season. You can also find me over on the Rob Has Podcast Network on the We Know reality TV side on the Love at First Sight feed, talking about Married at First Sight. Season 18 of that show. It's a banger. Me and Asia Welch talk about that show every week. You can also find me talking with Asia and Mary Krakowski about Love is Blind right now, as long as that's going on. That season, it's happening. I think you'll find a lot more entertainment in the podcast itself than the show. So check us out there as well. That's it for me. Sasha, what you got?
Yes. And of course, I am talking pop culture, celebrity gossip, anything crazy happening in the pop culture world. Kirsten McKennis and I are talking about it over on Mess Magnets. So check that out on messmagnets.com. I'm also on Blue Sky, so you can find me there. But really, I'm vibing out, seeing what's coming up, and I'm gonna be talking about it. And with that, thank you everyone for listening. This was so much fun. We'll see you next week. Bye.